Good morning, welcome to Selfie Cam. So let's talk about overgrips a little bit. Overgrip preference is a pretty subjective thing, right? You gotta remember that everybody has like a different experience, and that's gonna partly be personal stuff. It could be like how sweaty your hands are, just the way that you like to grip the racket even. But I think one thing people forget to consider is actually the environment that you're in. So literally one dry grip, for example, might work better in a certain climate or a certain elevation than a different dry grip might. And you have to combine that with the way that a person's hand sweats. And then on top of that, whatever personal preferences they might have that don't really have an explanation, so to speak. They're just some preference. But to some degree, a lot of these opinions and preferences are more or less consistent with certain things. Like on the Pro Tour, you definitely notice that everyone's grip is, unless it's Turner grip, is probably white. And that tennis channel, Tennis Spin, did kind of a good video on that, but I wanted to talk about the same thing and add my own little flair to it. So one of my favorite grips of all time is this Vocal V-Dry. And I would generally recommend white grips over like a black overgrip if you're trying to maximize performance, especially when it comes to like just comfort and sweat absorption. Durability, I don't know. But when it comes to the Vocal V-Dry, I actually think the black one might perform better than the white one. And I've spent a lot of time on this grip. I probably know it better than any overgrip that I'm familiar with. And if I'm to compare the white one to the black one, I think the white one doesn't last quite as long. It feels a little bit thinner. I don't think it absorbs quite as well. And it kind of has like this almost like thin, dry, papery texture to it that the black one doesn't quite have. It's a little bit hard to describe. I think you have to get familiar with both, but at the end of the day, I think my recommendation is going to be the black one. Now, if I was talking about a grip like Wilson Pro Overgrip, I would not recommend the black one. I think that it's notably stiffer, doesn't perform quite as well. I would recommend the white one. And some overgrips out there, they just offer a bunch of different colors, like Yonex VCORE, for example. That's another grip. I think the white one performs a little bit better and feels a little better than the black one. But I think what it really comes down to is whatever the material they're using and the combination of that plus how much pigmentation is actually required to achieve the color. Certain materials just require a lot of pigment, and it actually just changes how the material feels and how the material performs. And I think in the case of Vocal V-Dry, for whatever reason, the white grip is maybe more compromised due to the pigment than the black grip, but I don't really know. Whatever the combination of those variables are, I think that the black one is going to universally pretty much be more appreciated or liked. The Vocal V-Dry is kind of an underground grip a little bit. People switch to it from Tourna and then they never go back. That seems to be kind of the case, and I'm definitely an advocate of that. I think if you like Tourna overgrips, highly recommend that you try the Vocal V-Dry, especially in black. But yeah, much like how color can affect the performance or the feel of a overgrip, people know that color changes the performance of strings. But sometimes it's not always in the same way. Sometimes there's string sets out there where people think of like the lighter color being the livelier one, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes the black one is more lively. So I would say more often than not, if you pick the pigments or just white that are lighter in color, you will probably get a better performing overgrip. But this really depends on the overgrip that you choose, and I urge you to try a few of the different colors if color really doesn't matter to you, to go a little back and forth on the overgrips and the colors that are offered and pick the one that you think works best for you. Now for me personally, I have a really hard time getting over certain colors, and by that I mean if the color just works really well for my racket, I'm going to try really hard to make it work. The unfortunate thing about the white overgrips is how quickly they get dirty, but how dirty they are can kind of be an indication of how soon you need to change the overgrip. But for me, I think they last about maybe somewhere between 3 to 6 hits. It really depends on how long the hit is and how sweaty it is and how much I'm really prioritizing that best performance. It kind of depends on who I'm hitting with and how I feel like hitting that day. But obviously if I had infinite time and money, I would probably change my overgrip every day, every other day. I don't know, but then I'd feel like I'm just being wasteful at the same time. So do with that information what you will. Anyway, if you're a fan of Wilson Pro Overgrip, you might actually really like Vocal V-Dry. Vocal V-Dry is a little bit more of a dry tack grip, but if you like Tourna, I really can't recommend Vocal V-Dry enough. I liked Tourna, but a lot of people feel like the durability is terrible, and it kind of is. Try Vocal V-Dry out, because Vocal V-Dry offers just about everything you want from that Tourna grip, but it gives you a lot more durability. And the Overgrip actually starts with a little bit of adhesive on it, so you can just pinch it down and then start wrapping, and it's tapered so that the shape of the Overgrip just wraps a lot better at the top and the bottom actually. I really feel like Turner cheaped out as much as it possibly could, but for some reason it's such a household name. Anyway, I guess that's all I have for you guys right now. I might be, if you watch my other videos, I might be holding on to this racket a little bit longer because I want to experiment with weight a little bit. So you can see here, I got a little bit of weight here, and this isn't lead. This is actually something else by a company called VT Advantech, and it's quite interesting. It functions as a weight, but it also functions as a dampener. So I'll be talking about this in a video. They make the leather grips that I like on all my rackets, which I also need to do a video on because that Overgrip, or that base grip I mean, is so awesome. So stay tuned for that. I will see you guys in a future video. Like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys there. All right, bye.